The lights go out, your head hits the pillow, and instead of drifting off to sleep, your brain suddenly yells, "Action!" You are no longer lying in bed. You are back in that morning clash with your toxic coworker, scripting out the perfect comeback you completely blanked on in real life. Many assume this is a symptom of clinical insomnia or proof of an inherently anxious mind that refuses to shut down. However, this mental theater is a specific biological mission your brain executes to resolve the day's events. The problem is that this protective routine relies on a biological quirk that turns the dark, quiet space of your bed into a trigger for wakefulness, trapping your mind in a self-sustaining cycle. Stopping this cycle requires treating the brain as a system of established habits that must be manually overwritten through tactical intervention, rather than a feeling that can be fixed by simply trying to relax. Throughout the day, you use your prefrontal cortex to navigate the world rationally. This region acts as a logical filter, actively suppressing raw emotions and frustrations so you can remain productive and professional. As you lie down, you enter the hypnagogic state. Your exhausted prefrontal cortex powers down before the rest of your brain. While this logical filter sleeps, your limbic system, responsible for emotion and memory, remains wide awake, operating completely unsupervised. Without the prefrontal cortex to provide a rational perspective, the brain can no longer process unresolved tension through clear logic. Instead, it is forced to sort through the day's frustrations using highly dramatized visual storytelling. Your mind selects specific memories to replay based on 3 psychological goals. First, it pursues closure. Due to the Zeigarnik effect, the brain remembers unfinished business more vividly than resolved events. If a conversation ended poorly, your mind writes a new script to provide the ending you lacked in real life. Second, it seeks a powerful dopamine reward. By imagining a victory where you control the outcome, your nervous system experiences the same physiological satisfaction as an actual win. Third, your mind uses mental simulation as a private rehearsal space. It places you in high-pressure scenarios to test a stronger, more assertive version of your identity, so you feel more prepared for future risks. Your brain scripts these scenes as a tactical way to settle emotional wreckage and find the certainty it lacked earlier in the day. This coping mechanism becomes a trap through simple association. Because you perform these simulations in bed, the room's darkness and silence eventually become a behavioral cue signaling your brain to start working, not resting. The immediate reward is relief from boredom or emptiness. The second you engage with a scenario, your mind is occupied by something purposeful, distracting you from the discomfort of lying alone with your thoughts. This creates pre-sleep cognitive arousal. Intense fictional emotions trigger a physical response, elevated heart rate and muscle tension, signaling your body to be alert. This alertness prevents sleep, creating more empty time for stories. The loop tightens, keeping you trapped. After hundreds of nights, the bed functions as a neurological switch for wakefulness, making standard relaxation techniques ineffective against a reinforced behavioral habit. Breaking this cycle requires a 4-step override. First, name the specific worry you are replaying. Because language is a function of the prefrontal cortex, choosing a word forces that logical center to wake up and observe the emotion, instead of being controlled. Step 2 is the cutoff. Issue a firm internal command to stop, paired with a visual barrier, like a thick wall dropping, to halt the thoughts. Step 3 is replacement. Because your brain's processing bandwidth is limited, you must immediately fill the void left by the simulation with a neutral task, like counting from 1 to 10, or focusing on the hum of a fan, to prevent the old script from returning. Step 4 is retraining. Rewiring a long-term habit takes about 2 to 3 weeks of repetition. To further reduce the pressure at night, set aside 15 minutes during the day for a worry session, where you write down the day's unresolved issues on paper. This protocol is a tactical method for reclaiming your brain's processing capacity and dismantling a habit loop that has become parasitic to your rest. An active mind at midnight indicates a rich inner world and a protective mechanism that is simply overperforming its duties. However, you must reset the boundary by reminding your brain that the bed is a sanctuary reserved for physical recovery. The true goal at day's end is not winning the imaginary battles inside your head. It is to find the courage to press pause and allow the day to conclude.